Tonight on KGW News, her courtside service has made her a bit of a basketball legend.
And this is not the first time that's happened to her. No.
When I walk out on the court, I just tell myself, okay, Katie, focus.
Meet the honorary Blazer taking hits for the team. Plus,
it's extremely concerning and very troubling.
KGW investigators uncover a pay-per-view autopsy at a Portland hotel. Now local leaders are moving to ban events like this.
But first, answers finally for a Vancouver family 4 years after a young woman disappeared.
I beg for God, just give us some closure, because it's just bad to wake up and not know.
Your news starts now.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Laurel Porter. That Vancouver family recently got the news. The body of their loved one was discovered in the woods in Multnomah County.
And while it is a heartbreaking end, they also believe her death and life might send an important message. Here's Catherine Cook.
Loved ones never gave up hope on Ashanti Conde, even before she went missing. They cared for her through her struggles. They want others who are struggling to know that they can always start over.
She was just the most amazing person.
In Yolanda Conde Turner's house,
I've had her stocking hanging up since she left.
It feels like time stopped 4 years ago.
Even though I know she's not going to come back and get it, I still keep it up.
It helped keep their hopes up that one day Ashanti Conde would come home. Yolanda is Ashanti's stepmom. She reported her missing in March 2018. Ashanti was 27 and had 4 young children.
And I know she didn't get up thinking, okay, I'm going to go missing. I know she didn't think that, because she wouldn't have left.
Lab results recently confirmed a body found in Multnomah County in September belonged to Ashanti. Her remains were in a rugged, steep area, not far from where a crashed car was discovered shortly after she disappeared. At the time, the car was covered in snow, and the remains of a man Ashanti had been seen with were nearby. But it would be 4 more years before Ashanti was found.
She basically froze to death, is what we were told. We love that we have closure now, but at the end of it, we all wanted something different.
Family members say Ashanti had been involved with prostitution, a decision that led to pain and worry, but never stood in the way of their love for her. Ashanti's sister knows there are so many others out there now struggling in the same way.
There's no reason why your life can't be made whole again. Like, there's no matter what you've been through. And to the ones who have been sex trafficked and came out of it, like that is the best thing. Like, you can still start your life over.
Sadly, 4 years later, that's not the story here.
Michelle Bart is president and co-founder of the National Women's Coalition Against Violence and Exploitation. She helped keep Ashanti's face in the public eye. And while every sex trafficking case is different, she believes at least one thing is the same.
Those folks being trafficked need to know that their families and friends still care. And that's why it's so imperative that we keep the faces and cases visible at all times, because traffickers will tell the victims that nobody cares about them.
Nobody deserves to go missing and not be looked at as valuable.
With this closure, time has once again started to pass in Yolanda's home. Photos, memories, and even the stalking, all reminders of what's to come.
I know for a fact we will all see her again. I know we will, because that's my belief. And I just think with the grace of God, grace, mercy, all of that, we got our closure.
In Vancouver, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Today in the murder trial of romance novelist Nancy Crampton Brophy, her stepson took the stand. Nancy is accused of killing her husband, Daniel. Daniel's son, Nathaniel Stillwater, spoke about who his father was and testified about working for Nancy at her catering company for 6 years. He says he had a good relationship with her and that she was a good grandmother to his daughter. Stillwater was also questioned about talks he had with his dad and Nancy about finances and selling their home.
Yeah, I mean, I think the year prior to his murder was when the idea that they were interested in selling the house was initially presented. I think, my grandparents and I were all a little surprised by that. I got the sense that nobody really knew what the next move was.
We also heard from friends of Nancy Brophy who were in a romance writers group with her, and from some of her neighbors. One of the friends told jurors she was in a Washington County Citizens Academy with Nancy, where they learned to shoot guns at a shooting range. Another friend said Nancy told her about buying an unassembled gun kit in 2018, months before Daniel was shot to death. The trial is expected to last for a couple more weeks.
Absolutely intriguing case. Okay, now to an update on a rather bizarre and troubling story. A few months ago, we found out about an event in Portland where people paid hundreds of dollars to watch a live autopsy of a corpse, yes, a human being. And today, the Multnomah County Commission took the first step to ban this from ever happening again. A warning, you might find the video here disturbing. Here's investigative reporter Kyle Iboshi.
98-year-old David Saunders proudly served his country during World War II and the Korean War. After he died of COVID in August, the Louisiana man's family honored his wishes by donating his body to science. Little did they know he'd end up here, his body on display in a conference room at the Portland Marriott downtown waterfront, the centerpiece of a live autopsy and dissection before a paying audience.
So today we are saying enough.
On Thursday, the Multnomah County Commission took the first step to stop this type of pay-per-view event from ever happening again. A proposed county ordinance would ban the public display of human remains for profit.
We still have a lot of work to do, passing further legislation at the state and federal levels to ensure that there are stricter laws in place to prevent this from happening again.
Kimberly DeLeo, Multnomah County's chief death investigator, tried to stop the event before it happened last October. But police and prosecutors told her, as the law was written, there was nothing they could do. Video taken inside the event by our sister station King TV showed more than 24 people watching the dissection as part of the Oddities and Curiosities Expo in Portland. Tickets sold for up to $500.
It's extremely concerning and very troubling.
After seeing news coverage about the controversial event, a funeral director in Louisiana recognized the name of the man whose body was on display. David Saunders' wife, Elsie, spoke with county commissioners by phone.
I'm deeply hurt and frustrated that I was unable to save my husband from the violation of his remains. I was duped by selfish and immoral people for the sake of their personal monetary gain. Added to my grief for his loss is the vision in my mind of his naked and defenseless body being dismembered like a butcher preparing an animal carcass for sale.
The controversial event, put on by an organization called Death Science, raised ethical and moral questions. It also negatively impacted legitimate body donation programs, explained Tamara Ostervoss of OHSU.
It's incredibly harmful. Our program, for example, we support over 2,000 learners throughout the state of Oregon. And these sort of disreputable programs impacts their education, and it really impacts healthcare outcomes for future generations.
The proposed county ordinance targets the commercialization of displaying dead bodies to the public. It's meant to be a deterrent to prevent something like this from ever happening again.
And it should never have happened in the first place. If you have a story you'd like Kyle to investigate, give him a call at the number on your screen. That's 503-226-5041, or you can email callkyle@kgw.com.
Did you see the hail today? A lot of folks did. We want to thank Jennifer for sending in this video from her neighborhood in Salem. The streets and yards, as you can see, they're just coated in white after the hail came down hard there. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino. So, Matt, what do you say? Are we going to make it 5 days in a row of this wild weather?
Not with hail, no. I think we're going to get a reprieve tomorrow. There'll still be a few showers around, but they won't be as active or as dynamic as what we've seen the last several days. It really has been wild. Check out this picture from Northeast Portland. Lily Ferretti sending in this one. See the hail coming down against the trees there and covering the ground. Lots and lots of scenes like this throughout the Willamette Valley today. Here's slow motion hail from Multnomah Village. Christopher Ludke sending in this video. Love that. And the question is, was it hail or was it grapple? Or, as I got it in another email, when hail is falling, we say it's hailing, right? When grapple is falling, what do you call that? Well, you just say it's grappling, right? Or you call it, what is going on in my world? But nonetheless, that's what it looked like in Multnomah Village today. And as far as grapple goes, you may not have heard that term, but here's what it is. You have snowflakes falling out of the clouds, and then they fall through a layer of supercooled water. That's water that exists below 32 degrees, which is pretty common in cloud cover. And then what happens is those snowflakes pick up some of those water droplets. They freeze onto the snowflake and they make this little ball that's like styrofoam. And this can happen a couple of times as the snowflake may get pushed upwards by updrafts and then finally get heavy enough to fall on out. Very similar to how hail forms, but it begins with a snowflake instead of a raindrop. So everything and probably way more than you ever wanted to know about Graupel, right? All right, we had that rain this evening. It was pretty persistent, but it's moved out now. There's some stars showing through, but it is cold out there. Temperatures in the 30s. We'll let you know how low we will go by tomorrow morning and whether or not we'll actually get dry weather this weekend, especially for Easter Sunday. Guys?
Whatever you call it, let's just hope it stops. Okay, right. Thank you, Matt. A decision by Portland Community College to close swimming pools on one of its campuses is sparking a bit of a backlash tonight, with teachers, students, and neighbors rallying in the hopes they can hang on to everything from lap swimming to lifeguards. Alma McCarty joins us now. Alma, good to see you. Break this one down for us.
Well, David, more than 800 people signed a petition to keep the pools open on the Sylvania campus. PCC sent an email to students a couple weeks back, further explaining the decision to close them. They say the pools were built in the 1970s and now there are significant structural issues. So much so that PCC would need to fully replace them, but the estimated price tag for that is $25 to $30 million. Leaders also mentioned operational costs are in the $100,000s, too costly to keep up with as enrollment for the school drops. Now, many are unhappy with this call tonight. I met up with Katie Backus, a student at PCC, and Mike Guthrie, a faculty member who teaches physical education and exercise science.
It broke my heart because I realized that it's going to make it's going to impact the community, it's going to impact faculty, staff, and there's just going to be so many ripple effects because the community relies on our pools in a multitude of ways.
If it's been important enough for 50 years to have a pool, then it should be important enough to put forth the resources to maintain it and continue to offer the great services.
Guthrie tells me he's taught more than 1,500 students as the main swim instructor for the school for 23 years. That instruction extending beyond the community college, as they've hosted lifeguard training and swim lessons at these pools.
And I would ask PCC to bring us to the table, to reconsider and give us an opportunity to come up with some collaborative, equitable solutions.
The lap pool, the diving pool, those are set to be decommissioned at the end of the spring term. We'll keep you updated if the petition changes their decision.
Well, let's hope they can find a solution. Thank you, Alma.